The world's most powerful double-engine coverage, where access meets expertise. Davos Brainstorm, 19th to 23rd January. Only on India Today and Business Today.
From overnight global cues to live Dalal Street moves, we decode what matters for your money today. From stocks to sectors to the top business news. We've got your morning game plan covered. Watch me, Abha Bakaya, as I bring you the opening bell action Monday to Fridays, 9:05 a.m. only on India Today.
The world's most powerful double-engine coverage, where access meets expertise. Davos Brainstorm, 19th to 23rd January. Only on India Today and Business Today.
Very good morning, viewers. Welcome back. You're watching India Today, and this hour we bring to you the burning question with me, Sriya Kundu. We'll be taking you through breaking news that's coming in right at the top of this segment. TMC moving High Court against ED after IPAC raids yesterday. Now, TMC plea has come out to state in High Court. Violation of fundamental rights. That's what's been cited by them. The TMC has alleged the violation of Article 19 and 21 of the Constitution, including the right to privacy and the right to participate in their free and fair elections. Colorable exercise of power, that is, the search and seizure under Section 17 of the PMLA is described as a colorable and malified exercise of statutory power not linked to any legitimate investigation. Now, interference with electoral process has also been cited. The action is claimed to impair and sabotage the West Bengal Assembly elections 2026, affecting the petitioner's campaign preparedness. Lack of nexus, the seized data allegedly has no proximate or casual link with any money laundering investigation. Illegal seizure without notice. TMC claims no prior notice or justification was given before the seizure of sensitive material. Fishing and roving inquiry. The ED is accused of conducting a roving inquiry, which is impermissible under the PMLA. So these are the sections that have been cited in their plea by the TMC, and they have said that it's a threat to democratic functioning, wherein the petition by the TMC argues that political parties are integral to a democracy and must be allowed to function without any coercion or intimidation. This has come in right after what exactly unfolded at both Pratik Jain's residence and post that at the IPAC office, where the Chief Minister had come in and stepped right into an ED raid that was underway, took hold of documents which she claimed were essential and official party documents and refused to hand them over, alleging that the centre was misusing these agencies and that political parties have sensitive information that cannot be handed out just like that, which has also been cited in the sections that have been spoken about in this very TMC plea. Today, the IPAC, the TMC, the ED, all of them are knocking the doors of the High Court. We are awaiting for that case hearing as well. And meanwhile, on the political side, we've seen how the centre has already, not the centre, but the BJP as a political party has already made allegations as to why and what is the Chief Minister hiding. The Congress has also questioned why does a sitting CM need to walk into an ongoing probe. And the TMC, on the other hand, has in fact come out to say that they will be organizing a march today from Jadavpur to Hazra. So these are the latest updates, summing up all that's been happening so far. Indrajit Kundu joining me on the broadcast with more details. Indrajit, certain sections that have been cited in this plea, but most important of all, the TMC has alleged that there is a fundamental right of speech and fundamental rights that's being violated at this given point of time, and democracy being threatened with raids of the kind that we saw yesterday.
Well, that's right. As we have been witnessing since yesterday, the Trinamool Congress Supremo Mamata Banerjee has actually, laid the foundation for the way the Trinamool Congress is going to take this fight. They are going to take this fight head-on two prongs. One, of course, is a legal battle which will be fought inside the High Court today. The Trinamool Congress has approached the High Court saying that their rights have been tampered with, that the raids were not on any other private organization. It was an extension of its political arm, its political office, the IPAC, which is an authorized consultancy firm that is helping the party in the 2026 election campaign. And they have also alleged that the documents that have been seized by the Enforcement Directorate are nothing but their own party's political blueprint for the 2026 election, something that has got nothing to do with the alleged coal scam and its probe. This is the allegation, and therefore they are saying that the court must intervene. On the political front, the Trinamool Congress will take the same message out on the streets to, its supporters, with Mamata Banerjee leading the protest march today. She has given this protest march call at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, where she will be harping on the same lines.
Right.
That this is political vendetta, that central agencies are being used by the central government.
That's a narrative that the opposition has stuck to, Indrajit, for quite some time now. The central agency is being used by the centre at this given point of time right ahead of elections. Well, with that, we will keep our eyes on what happens in Bengal today. But right now, let me go across to Sakshi Batra of Business Today TV with all updates of the markets in this business show. Sakshi, very good morning to you and over to you.
Good morning, Shreya, and welcome to everybody watching this edition. This is the morning market opening action on Business Today. First up, let's take a look at what's hot in the corporate and the financial world. Tariff D-Day today. The US Supreme Court has listed today as an opinion day in the Trump global tariffs case. Markets are watching closely for clarity on the legality of duties and presidential trade powers. Export-oriented, tariff-sensitive stocks like Gokaldas Exports, Avanti Feeds will be in focus. Global markets remain cautious. US stock futures trade flat ahead of the key jobs report and a possible Supreme Court ruling on tariffs. US equities closed mixed. Remember, defense stocks rose on higher budget talk, while Asian markets trade mixed. China inflation hits fastest pace in nearly 3 years in December. Reliance Industries may buy Venezuelan oil, awaiting clarity on non-US sales. Firm will consider imports if permitted under global trade rules. Indian refiners eye discounted heavy crude as geopolitical shifts evolve. Amid strong investor interest, Coal India and Bharat Coking Coal Limited launches IPO today. The 1,071 crore rupees issue has seen strong green market demand with a price band set at 21 rupees to 23 rupees per share, marking the first PSU IPO of the year and the first main one IPO as well. Bajaj Group completes acquisition of Alliance's 23% stake in Bajaj General and Bajaj Life Insurance for 21,390 odd crores. Bajaj Finserv raises its stake to 75%, ending a 24-year joint venture in India's largest insurance deal. Good morning to all our viewers. Straight away, let me go across to my colleague Shell Bhatnagar, who's joining in to give us the morning opening action as far as the trade settled is there in the pre-open trade. Warm welcome to you. Good morning to you, Shell, and good to have you with us. Well, the trade setup seems mixed with the US softer, Asian markets mixed absolutely. What are the trends telling you in the morning trading action today?
Well, Sakshi, a very good morning to you and to all our viewers. Weakness persists on the fifth day. The Nifty has given back somewhere like 550 points from its most recent high and will now try to defend the previous week's close and low, which is 25,750 or so. If that breaks down, which seems likely, there is more pain ahead. So 25,600 opens up, 25,550 opens up. Remember, it's a very, very big day in the US. The Supreme Court there will rule on the legality of tariffs, as also unemployment data will come. So those are the things that we are looking at, and plus that overhang that US President Trump has now put in. He's now seeking Congress permission to put 500% tariffs on all those countries that import Russian oil. So pain is ahead, and the weekly close today will matter very importantly, Sakshi.
Absolutely. Extremely important cues there that everybody has to watch out for, more on the external front rather than the domestic front, at least for now. Let me also welcome Mayuresh Joshi, the head of equity research, William O'Neill India, who's joining in on the program shortly. And of course, we'll be focused on a lot of key sectors today. Mayuresh, good morning to you. Good to have you with us. Just like how Shell highlighted, I think the focus is getting shifted back to the US with two important points there, with the US Supreme Court now and the ruling that's going to come in as far as tariffs are concerned. The big question is, despite the ruling, despite some rollback, if at all it is hinted at, will Donald Trump again find out some ways of imposing further tariffs? He's already seeking that 500% tariffs on all those countries that are importing from Russia. How are you looking at this shock? It seems like deja vu of 2025, right in the beginning of 2026.
Morning, Sakshi. Morning, Shell. No, I think this has again become an overhang for the markets, and you never really know what Trump will think, decide, act, and do. So I think in all these aspects, it's really unclear on how the president thinks, and therefore I think the markets have probably reacted yesterday. They might just take it in its stride today unless something is authenticated on this front. It just does not make any logical sense, and the rationale for having 500% tariff done. I think the trade will stop completely for any countries which probably have that kind of a tariff imposition done on them. So I think it's more a rhetoric in terms of ensuring that you come on the table and finish the trade deal fast, or negotiate fast in terms of whatever is pending on the table as well. So again, markets have largely taken in their stride. I think it's a wait and watch for the markets now whether this happens or not.
Absolutely. Shell, could you help us identify the key stocks within the export-oriented sectors? How are they doing at this point in time? Yesterday, there was a sharp fall on Gokaldas exports. Is it likely to face the pain even today?
Sakshi, I think there is a very serious pause in buying. So in any case, there is no buying support in the market. So levels really don't matter. The most crucial ruling is what the US Supreme Court will come out today. Let's wait for it. 4 दिन हम लोगों ने इतने बुरे निकाले हैं. Another 3-4 hours really don't matter. But candidates such as HDFC Bank are coming up for shorting opportunities on charts. So that's painful. Look at Reliance, look at ITC. They are not showing any signs of recovery. So, it's best to stay away. And if you really want to deploy money, I would still suggest go for a large cap fund. This is not the time to, put fresh money in the market. It's really painful out there.
Absolutely. We could be looking at a breach below 25,850 right when we open today, and that's what is getting indicated on the Nifty. But Mayuresh, to understand from you, IT stocks, the export-oriented stocks, would you largely stay away from these spaces right now?
So actually, I think I've always maintained my stance, specifically when it comes to IT, that large cap IT from a valuation matrix reasonable compared to mid cap. But again, looking at all the parameters that we probably decipher, order flows, pricing, constant currency growth, margin performance, I think mid cap probably stands out to be a tad bit better on that front. And therefore, mid cap selectively preferred over large cap, as always maintained. The export-oriented stocks at this juncture, which are exposed to the US market or globally as well, which is textiles, gems and jewelry, your shrimp feed makers, and so on and so forth. I think they might still feel some element of pain. So I think it's a better strategy to be very stock specific in these markets.
Okay. What about the gems and jewelry space? You touched upon it, but these jewelry-related stocks, they had started to move up in the last couple of sessions on the back of the Titan numbers that they saw, and they were cheering that business update, looking at how this tailwind of higher gold prices may have led to value-led growth among all of them in Q3. How would you look at that? Because this space again is going to be facing any kind of wrath in case there is a negative move on the tariffs front. Yet again, they contribute higher to exports there.
Also, I think the bullion makers are largely domestic oriented. I think will not feel the pain. I think it's more the issues in terms of the export oriented jewelers are probably looking at scheme of things. Secondly, I think with elevated gold prices, obviously, I think, and the wedding season expected to start again from Jan 14th, well and truly over the next month and a half, you will see improvement happen in terms of wedding jewelry, studded jewelry, etc. Lab-grown diamonds has become a threat to the industry, so I think they're competing that by introducing their own sub-brands to a certain extent. But our own sense is that with whatever is happening geopolitically, gold and silver will continue to remain the levels at which they are, and therefore gold financiers might actually have a better run than the bullion makers.
Okay. Fair point. Shell, 1 minute to go before the markets open. Any key other spaces that you are watching out for today?
Sakshi, I'm very happily looking at the cool off that's happening in the metal space. It gets you an opportunity to get back into stocks that are making record highs. So, Hindalco, National Aluminium, Muthoot Finance, Manappuram.
Okay, so the metal space is clearly going to be in focus yet again. 11,110 right now at this point in time, about 0.3% lower in trade. So softness, and we just have about half a minute to go before the markets open in trade. Viewers, we are also be looking at, so 9 seconds there for you on your screens. We'll be focusing on, I think, 25,840, about 36 points lower is where we are going to be starting. That's what is getting an indication. Yes, we have a 25,870. So we are flattish and we're turning green, and that's a sign of relief coming in on the Nifty. 25,883. Some buying emerging right at the first tick on the Nifty. Look at the Nifty Bank, flat with a positive bias yet again. 59,696 on the Nifty Bank as we are looking at right now. Look at the IT stocks. There's a bounce there, 0.4% higher, 38,068. At least some buying emerging right at the beginning of the session today. FMCG slightly lower when we look at the sector. Pharma also just flat with a positive bias at this point in time. I think it's metals again that Shell pointed out that's also shining bright, 0.3% higher now. PSU Banks is another one that's pulling up into the green. Mid-cap stocks are also trying to pull up themselves. Pharma stocks just about flat right now, but where is the pain? Real estate, FMCG, private banks, these are the three sectors that are still in pain, but there are some sectors that are trying to pull up right in the opening session. Let me look at the top Nifty movers at this point in time. You have ONGC, 1.3% higher, HCL Tech. You also have Bharat Electronics, 1.2% higher in trade. Tech Mahindra, Power Grid, and also BEL. These are all the stocks that are up and about in trade as far as the Nifty is concerned. 25,900 back on the Nifty. Let me look at the laggards. Adani Ports is down. ICICI Bank, Eternal, Trent, NTPC. These are the top laggards as far as the Nifty is concerned at this point in time. Shell, what is the clear trend that you're looking at in the market opening right now?
Sakshi, I think there's a bit of short covering after 4 successive days of selling. But look at just the broader market, 935 shares in the green. Only 935 shares in the green versus 1200 in the red. So easy first step for bears as far as Friday is concerned. Let's hope that we close in the green and there's a bit of short covering. But I'd be really very cautious. In terms of leads, it's the Nifty IT index 0.7% higher, but it lost 800 points yesterday, 2 percentage point down yesterday. So a bit of a short covering there. Metals, as I've been pointing out, it's an opportunity to get back. And of course, defense. Look at BEL, look at Mazgaon Dock. And this weekend will be very crucial in Europe. Because of Venezuela, the reversal has happened in defense stocks. Let's hope nothing happens on Greenland over the weekend, but defense and capital markets are looking good.
Defense clearly looking good, 1.2% higher for the index. Remember, this is global phenomenon that we are seeing. Even in the US markets, we saw the defense stocks surge in trade after the higher budgetary announcements that were being seen from Donald Trump. Defense stocks already had started to pick up pace in the last week of December, and we are seeing that continued move even right now. Mayurish, is this a safe space to be in? And in the run-up to the budget, do you think there's a lot more rally that one can tap onto?
So from a budgetary perspective, Sakshi, I think the allocations are definitely going to be higher than what we've probably seen last year. And therefore, I think with higher allocations happening for the sector as a whole, expectations in terms of more orders coming their way seems to be a base case scenario. The more plausible analysis that one can have in terms of how numbers will play out over the next few quarters, I think it should be pretty decent because of revenue visibility that they've got, the margins that these orders have come through, and these companies are executing well. Obviously, I think geopolitics and our own issues that keep on cropping up with our neighbors keep defense stocks probably in focus, and therefore I think structurally I think there is a long-term story with defense stocks. Some stocks are extended as we see it in markets with India in terms of our rating rankings parameters, but anybody holding can hold on because over a longer period of time I think it's a good structural story in the Indian context.
Okay. Any key favorites there within the defense pack that you'd like to highlight? Is it the shipping stocks? Is it HAL, BL? How are you looking at navigating through?
No, so I think a stock like Sorry for that. No, a stock like BEL, I think can continue doing well. It has been in momentum. It has strong tailwinds to it as well. Shipbuilders might remain in focus, as I said. But again, HL, long-term contracts, they've also got the O&M contracts related to that. So I think it's a perennial annuity contract that gets built in once I think the initial setup probably happens, which is also incrementally positive in terms of the facilities and the operating efficiencies and the performance that the stock can make.
Fair point. Let's shift focus to the metal space that Shell was pointing out. And now we have JSW Steel Q3 update that's just come in on your screens, viewers. This is as far as the India operations are concerned. The crude steel production is down by 5% on a sequential basis. That's quarter on quarter. However, it is up by 7% year on year at 7.28 million tons. We're also looking at consolidated crude steel production that's down by 5% sequentially, but 6% higher on a year on year basis at 7.48 million tons. The capacity utilization for Indian operations for the quarter, including the Blast Furnace 3 capacity, was at 85%. We're looking at the Blast Furnace 3 at Vijayanagar, expected to be commissioned by the end of Q4 FY26 is what the clear indication is coming in. The stock is moved up slightly, just about 0.1% higher, and that's the Q3 business update that's coming in from JSW Steel. Mayuresh, coming to you, the metal space at large, the business updates that we are getting, the tailwind that was being seen up until now. How are you going to be playing all of this right now?
So I think it all started with the base metals, actually. I think gold, silver, copper, zinc, right? And all the proxy and ancillary stocks, including the likes of copper and zinc, moved up quite significantly. Over the past week, since the government has announced safeguard duties, specifically when it comes to the ferrous pack, HRC, CRC, coated steel as an example, the expectations largely getting built in now is for these ferrous players, realizations to start inching upwards. We're already seeing JSW Steel updates that you're seeing. The utilization level has reached up to 85%. There is a high probability if it stays around 80-85 for the sector as a whole, operating efficiencies start kicking in. Input costs have largely remained stable. There is a lot of integration happening as far as mines are concerned, both in terms of iron ore and coking coal. And therefore, I think expectations in terms of better operating performance reflected on EBITDA on an absolute basis and a reported EBITDA per ton on a relative basis should probably stand out for ferrous players. So at this juncture, I think a large part of the move has happened in base metals, but we remain constructive of the ferrous space as we speak.
Fair point. Shell, anything else that caught your attention for 6 minutes, 7 minutes? What else is moving in trade?
Well, Sakshi, there is a red mark on Nifty Bank. And you know what's really sad? Nifty Bank was stronger than Nifty. So a red mark on Nifty Bank is not really something which I was looking forward to. Nevertheless, भाव भगवान है और हमारे सामने है. There is HDFC Bank 0.5% down, 941, as I have been pointing out. But if you really want hope, look at Indus Towers, 4% higher. The top traded counter on the National Stock Exchange, 447 for you. That's a bit of a heartening development on the AGR case with Vodafone. So that's the link. Plus BEL doing very well. Mazgaon up 2.5%. And today's crisis is in Elecon Engineering, 12% lower, 13% lower at 436. Sakshi.
Mayuresh, on the banks front, the kind of dichotomy we're seeing, PSU banks versus private banks at this point in time, large private banks that have so far been big support to the markets all across in 2025. How are you seeing this play? Is it going to diverge in trend in 2026?
No, Sakshi, so again, I think on all parameters, whether it's private or public, large private, mid private, or public banks at large, have reported very good set of numbers over the last 2 quarters on all fronts. Advances growth has been decent. You're seeing NIMs probably stabilize as we speak. CASA deterioration largely behind us. Provision coverage is adequately provided for. Capital adequacy, specifically Tier 1 ratios, seem to be in place. Now, the differentiating factor going forward is going to be deposit growth, in my opinion, and how deposits probably accrue to all these banks that are at play. Now, the larger banks with their larger base, how are they going to accrue deposits is going to be very, very interesting every passing quarter, with interest rates actually having come down quite significantly. And therefore, as repricing starts happening and taking shape, how does that impact the overall deposit growth and therefore the overall credit deposit ratios for large banks with large bases? Where I think the PS universe probably comes in a lot more on a much more stable footing because of the legacy accounts that they've got, and therefore I think a little bit of a bias tilted towards PSU banks and very selective with the private space.
I have 2 more questions for you, Mayuresh, before we thank you. And one is on, of course, the first IPO of 2026, BCCL. What are the opportunities you are gauging? Of course, the grey market premium indicated a lot of buying action in the unofficial market. But today is when clearly the demand will start pouring in for the IPO. How would you look at it?
No, so I think if you probably look at the standalone numbers that this company posts, I think it contributes significantly to Coal India, and therefore I think on a standalone basis, as it probably gets listed, I think there is going to be significant or sufficient amount of value that can get derived. On the corollary, if you probably look at Coal India, I think the move has already happened because there was an arbitrage opportunity in terms of the valuation gap that Coal India and its subsidiaries had. Coal India was around 6.5 times in terms of EV/EBITDA. The subsidiaries were trading at 11 times. So there was that arbitrage gap post-holding company discount of 10 to 15%, which has got filled for Coal India as well. So to a certain extent, I think the moves have been well captured.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you on the earnings front. Today also we'll start seeing some numbers pouring in from Irida. Tomorrow we have DMart. Of course, the next entire week will be IT, and thereafter we have HDFC and Reliance Industries on next Saturday. How are you going to look at this entire week, which will be filled with a lot of earnings numbers? What should investors do? Are any key sectors or stocks on your radar?
So I think as we see it in markets with India, I think a few sectors which are probably showing better relative strength are probably BFSI selectively, as I said, selective on consumer discretionary as we speak, which should have a reasonable and a decent set of numbers. Some infra engineering stocks which are showing signs of strength coming back in terms of both their EPS, which is their earning strength ratings, and their relative strength ratings as well. Whereby metals, as I said, base metals seem to consolidate. Ferrous probably looking a tad bit better on that front, as well as select NBFCs as well, which are probably. So our sense is that these sectors should be closely watched out for. Our own sense is that the numbers should be relatively better off as we head into Q3. And yes, within consumer discretionary, I think it's a large market, Sakshi. So I think it's very selective on a few domestic apple makers, as I've always said, a few FMCG players, and a few of the themes which might be unique to a few companies. For compliance reasons, might not be able to name them at this juncture, but I think this is something that we can do.
Fair point, Mayuresh. Always good to have you on the show and seek all those insights. Of course, thanks a lot, Shell, as well, for being with us on the show. And thanks to both of you. We'll, of course, touch base yet again on another edition on Business Today and on India Today. With that, viewers, it's a wrap on the show. But don't forget to tune in at 3 p.m. for all the market closing action on India Today. I'll be back for that.
The world's most powerful double-engine coverage, where access meets expertise. Davos Brainstorm, 19th to 23rd January. Only on India Today and Business Today.
rates move today to what's setting the stage for tomorrow. From tariffs to taxes,